morning, everybody. Hey, we've got ourselves a series. The NBA Finals all knotted up at one game apiece after Miami took game 2 last night, 111-108. And Patrick, when you look at this NBA Finals, it's basically maybe the best player on the planet, Nikola Jokic of the Denver Nuggets, against this Miami Heat team. And no doubt they're led by Jimmy Butler. But they got a bunch of just really solid guys, especially some guys who were not drafted. These guys came from out of nowhere. Gabe Vincent from nearby UC Santa Barbara. Some other guys who were not drafted. These guys were not household names going into the NBA. So it's a really interesting dynamic. If you're watching the NBA Finals, it's like maybe the best player on earth right now in Jokic against just a really good Miami Heat team with maybe the best basketball coach in the world in Eric Spoelstra. It's been fun, man, through the first 2 games.
I mean, how funny is it, though, that everyone is basically a fighter, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or who's been doubted. I mean, even Pat Riley, we watched it in the docuseries or whatever that, after his playing days, he went through a real tough time where he was just a tape guy, if you will, where he was just watching tape. He's an underdog, if you will. Spoelstra's an underdog. Butler's an underdog. It is a thing with them. Like, you can't ever count them out. It makes them really tough. You're right. Not the best basketball players in the world, but a team and a bunch of scrappers.
I've heard this term quite a bit the last couple of weeks. Heat culture. Like they want a certain kind of guy. And remember, Eric Spoelstra is the same guy that had LeBron James when they had Dwayne Wade. It's not like, this is his first NBA Finals. The guy has been around the block by now. And he knows what he wants out of his team and the kind of guys he wants on his roster. And that Heat culture, again, that's what they're calling it. They want a certain type of guy. And you bring in a superstar like Jimmy Butler, surround him with those Heat kind of guys, and this is what can happen. Again, underwhelming during the regular season, but when it matters the most, man, these guys know what to do because they got a great coach.
Himmy Buckets says Heat culture is real. And how much does it show you the wisdom of Pat Riley, who knew this tape guy, this guy who watched tape, this kid was the man, and he was right. That's amazing to me.
Yeah, Pat Riley saw it from a mile away, right? That Eric Spoelstra was the guy.
He saw himself. He says, this guy, nobody knows it, but I know it. And he was right.
Yeah, Pat Riley handing off the baton to Spoelstra. Here's another interesting stat, Patrick, I just saw the other day. That Pat Riley, Lakers legend, of course, right? Between his playing days in the NBA, his coaching days in the NBA, and now as an executive in the NBA, he has been part of a quarter of all the NBA finals in history. Like, he's been involved in 1/4 of all of them.
That's how successful he is, man. And obviously an eye for talent all the way around.
Yes, yeah. So Game 3 will be Wednesday as the NBA Finals shifts to Miami later this week. Other NBA news, and this kind of loosely goes back to the Lakers. Their former head coach, Frank Vogel, is now the new head coach for the Phoenix Suns. And Patrick, if you're thinking of a coach that would be the perfect fit to make it work in Phoenix, to make it work with Kevin Durant as the star player with Devin Booker, I think it's Frank Vogel. Remember, before the Lakers, he was successful, very successful with an Indiana Pacers team that didn't have a lot of talent, but they were still one of the best teams in the Eastern Conference. I don't know if the Lakers experiment was just Russell Westbrook and all these other things kind of going weird, but Frank Vogel going to Phoenix seems like the right fit to me.
I could see all that working, but I got to say my main concern is Chris Paul, man. Is he going to stay healthy? Because with all that working, Booker's a scorer, Durant's a scorer. They need a distributor. Chris Paul would be perfect if it were Chris Paul of 5-6 years ago, but he cannot stay healthy.
Yeah, and you know what? He's had moments where you're like, okay, he can still play at that high level, but there's not a lot of those moments anymore for Chris Paul. And it's not his fault, man. Father Time wins every single time. So maybe that's the missing piece for Phoenix going forward. If they're going to challenge the Nuggets, if they're going to challenge the Lakers, some of these teams in the Western Conference is, who's your point man? Who's going to run the offense? Who's going to distribute and get the ball to your scores? So, but that'll be Frank Vogel's problem, I guess, going forward.
Yep.
So we'll see. And one other quick basketball note, Austin Reeves, who really became a fan favorite of the Lakers this season, really contributing in a big way, and the Lakers need to bring this guy back. He was handpicked for the Team USA for the FIBA World Cup. It's coming up in a couple weeks later this summer. So Austin Reeves and a bunch of other like young rising stars in the NBA make up your World Cup team. If you look at history, and then those guys, a couple of them will go on to play in the Olympics with some of the bigger stars in the NBA. But yeah, for Austin Reeves to be picked for the World Cup team for Team USA, that's a big deal. I think he earned a lot of respect this year, Patrick, playing for the Lakers.
Oh, he can play with LeBron. They're like, you're on Team USA.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and Steve Kerr. Steve Kerr's the head coach for Team USA at the World Cup.
Perfect.
All right, we got the NBA Finals. We got the Stanley Cup Finals as we transition to hockey just quickly. The Las Vegas Golden Knights took Game 1 against the Florida Panthers. Yeah, celebrate, man. I know there's a lot of Las Vegas Golden Knight fans here in the IE as well, and Game 2 is tonight against Florida, and that game is also in Las Vegas.
Go Vegas, baby.
Yeah, they might get it done. I love when the expansion teams have a lot of success early on in their team history. I love, I assume you're a Seattle Kraken guy. I'd love to see the Kraken do something similar. In fact, Seattle's already pretty good, but maybe next year they'll make a run to the finals. But yeah, to see Las Vegas doing it, it's pretty fun.
Oh, you're right. My dream was to have Vegas and Seattle come together.
Yeah.
It didn't work out, but nevertheless, it is pretty cool. I'm just happy to make it to the playoffs. I'm from Seattle. You got to be happy about that stuff.
Baby steps, right?
Yes.
Baby steps.
Take it.
We saw, you're old enough, Patrick. I'm old enough. Remember the Florida Marlins in the 90s? I think it was 96, I want to say. They went out and bought a lot of guys, and they sold everyone off after they won the World Series. But these young teams can go out there and find success. So it's happened before.
True,
yeah. All right, and speaking of baseball, we're not talking Marlins, we're talking Dodgers. Yankees over the weekend. Very nostalgic, right? Having these two traditional baseball powerhouses. The Yankees taking 2 out of 3 against the Dodgers, including a 4-1 victory yesterday. But the big news, Patrick, over the weekend, not Sunday, but on Saturday, Aaron Judge of the Yankees had a crazy game. Hit a home run, made an incredible catch as he actually ran through the fence at Dodger Stadium. But he hurt his big toe. He hurt his foot, man, and we don't know how long he's going to be out now.
No, they're saying possibly broke his toe. They're going to find out, I guess, today in New York City if it's broken or not. Interestingly enough, never even thought about that right field wall until you saw it out there and you're like, you know what? That is kind of just a chain link fence.
Yeah.
Didn't think it was going to even open like that. And then there's a little curb there, I guess. And that's what he ran his foot into, broke his toe or hurt his toe, excuse me.
Yeah. Well, I'll say this, as you say, broken to hurt. We've all, I'm sure you have too, we've all stubbed our toe really bad on the corner of the bed or the corner of a desk or anywhere else. And you're thinking, man, I for sure broke my toe. It hurts so bad. And then it's not broken. So I don't know. I'm just saying, Aaron Judge, I'm sure it hurts. I'm sure it hurts to walk around, but if you're a Yankees fan, you're probably hoping maybe it wasn't broken. Maybe it just hurts really, really bad, like when you get your own toe on the side of the bed.
It just could be an issue if that's the foot that he twists on at the plate. That's all I'm saying. You know what I mean? It could be an issue if that toe is jacked. You know what they say? I mean, not that he lost his big toe, but if you are to lose your big toe, they say you'll never walk the same.
Yeah.
You need that thing for balance.
Yeah. Yeah, you know what? Can I share it's kind of a gruesome story, and I'll make it quick. Long time ago, there was this high school track and field athlete, one of the best in the entire state. He was going to win CIF state titles. He was on a school field trip on an escalator. He got his foot caught in the escalator wearing flip-flops, and it ruined his career because they couldn't piece his toes back together. Because you're right, Patrick. Who knew? Toes are so important to your walking, to your balance, and everything else. I know they're just a little part of your body, but they play a big part.
So true. The big toe. And you know what? The big toe of our sports is our guy, Pep. Tell him how to get
you guys need me just to get around to talk sports. It's Inland Sports, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, the Inland Sports YouTube channel.
Our big toe. Thanks, Pep.